Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to Membening. So in this moment, I would like to presentate you about the importance of implementing occupational safety and health in hospitals in COVID-19 pandemic era. So this is the work health and safety. So without further ado, let's take more deep about the work health and safety in companies. So we have to really know that work health and safety is the most crucial things in the business aspect because this point of view is taking care about the employees. They are trying to protect the employees from the hazard and then the injuries and also the illness. And in this pandemic COVID-19 era, this is the most critical things because uh, medical staff can get affected easily. So we need to ensure about the staff safety. And then because of that points, well, there's a government enforced work health and safety regulation. This is the general regulations from the work health and safety. So there are 4 points. The first one is about to prevent workplace accident, and then the second one is promote employee well-being. This is to make sure that a lot of employee are good enough to work and then they can lead to get the higher productivity because they are getting motivated to being promoted. And then the third one is about avoid legal penalties. And then the fourth one is to reduce financial losses from compensation claims and absenteeism. So the 4 points is about the general regulation, but then because of the pandemic era in the COVID-19, because of the COVID-19, there are some additional regulations for the work health safety. So in this case, I will tell you about the conditions from the Indonesia. So according to the regulation of the Minister of Health on guidance COVID-19 response, there are several steps and also things that hospital and medical staff needs to do and then what they can get. So the first one is about the health promotion. So hospital and medical staff need to do some promotion about the COVID-19. Like they need to make sure a lot of peoples are recognize the situation and then recognize how dangerous about the COVID-19 and then yeah, it is to make sure that uh, it is to prevent the COVID-19 patient because if in the hospital you are struggling with a lot of patient, then maybe the chance of your getting infected is increased. So if you're having less patient, then you can get higher percentage to not getting infection. And then the second one is about the surveillance. I'm sorry. The surveillance is to aim to obtain an overview of the epidemiological COVID-19 situations, and then monitor disease trends and also determine the effectiveness and also the efficiencies from countermeasures that already be done for the COVID-19. And then the third one is about the immunization. So immunization is also the most important thing that medical staff does because uh, the government will give immunization for the medical staff first to make sure that they are getting the best health and then they're getting ready to take care others people that are non-medical staff. And then the fourth one is about the clinical management. So this is one of the things that I would like to share you later because I can give you a detailed example from the clinical management, such as maybe having a good tools and so on. And then the last one is about the waste management. So in order to make our environment good enough and not uh, affect bad for us, for our people. So hospital and also medical staff need to reassure about how good the waste management from the place that they are working. And then how hospital can protect staff from external and internal harm. So the external one is about the physical, biological risk, and then the internal ones is about the psychological and also the emotional. So about the external, there are 3 points that do really cares about the external harm. So the first one is about the infection control. So it's more likely like the clinical management. So in this infection control, we need to make sure that we are using proper gear. We are using masks and then we are using gloves, and also we do some sanitation protocols to make sure that the medical staff are sanitized, they are clean from the virus, and then they can work more properly. And then the second point is about the safe handling of patient and equipment. Sorry. For these points, uh, there are a lot of things that medical staff can do to make sure they are not having a bad situation because of more like musculoskeletal injuries or another injuries that literally can happen due to manual handling stuff. So medical staff need to make sure and knows about the manual handling and also do the equipment or use the equipment properly. And then the last one is about the violence prevention. So this is more like task force in this pandemic COVID-19. Like they are knows about what they are doing so they can prevent the violence that happening. So the next point is about the internal. So there are 5 points. The first one is the mental health support, and then the second one is employees, and then the third one is about the workplace culture and reporting systems. Because okay, when we're having a bad day and then the environment around you is not supporting you, then it might be bad for the workers and it can be harm and has yeah, it's terrible for the people. And then the fourth one is about the manager or supervisors. It's more like the leader from the workers. If you are having a good leader, then the leader can ensure and make the staff follows the safety procedure and also take care of everything else. And then the lastly that also important is the government. So to make sure the regulations are working properly and then the guidelines are doing great. So the government needs to reassure and also maybe do some standards to deal with the situation. And then this is one of the example that uh, near from me or near from us, ma'am. So this is the medical care and procedure improvement by Pantherapy Hospital. So they are really care about the work health and safety. So from the 2019, due to the pandemic COVID-19, this hospital, Pantherapy Hospital, are dividing the areas into 2 areas, 2 dominant areas. The first one is the front area, and then the second one is the back area that is called Borromeus building. So quick information, Borromeus building is actually finished at 2019. So they are very lucky to have the new building in the pandemic COVID-19. So because they are dividing into 2 areas, there are some benefits and impacts that I would like to share you later. So this is the first implementation strategy that Pantherapy does in order to make sure the work health and safety from the medical staff to deal with pandemic COVID-19. And then there are also the second implementation strategy. So because they're dividing the areas into 2 areas, the front area is for the critical and for the pandemic COVID-19 patients. So right in this point of view, in this picture, there are some areas, maybe it's not visible. There are some areas that contains a lot of task force in order to do a screening and also to make sure that people who are having a symptoms leading to COVID-19 will get take care in that area. If they are not having the symptoms, then they can get transferred or move to the workplace building. So it is a separated area that makes sure that medical staff is having a good chance or potential to not getting infected. So because of that implementation, there are some benefit. There are more space, more flexible, and can anticipate a lot of potential risks from pandemic. So they can easily make sure that work health and safety from the employees in the pandemic COVID era is good. And then the impact that are really bad is they need more cost, of course, and then the maintenance is also more. And the last but not least is they are need more people to work with. So the conclusion is hospital must prioritize infection control and responsible for all of the employees to make sure not only in a legal way but also in a moral perspective. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.